Welcome back to my keto recovery. One thing I've been wanting to talk about is I have often talked about how I track and measure my food, and I do it pretty consistently. I don't do it 100% of the time, but I do it most of the time. I'm going to be kind of giving some demonstration. These are food scales I have, and I'll turn the camera around here so we can kind of see how they work, because there's a lot of things about these food scales. A lot of people don't know sometimes all the functions that they can have. And I'll kind of give you guys a demonstration of some of the tricks you can do to measure your food more accurately here. Okay, we have our three food scales here, and they all kind of operate pretty much the same. So we can turn these on, and I think I've got them all set to ounces here. So we have everything on here. So as we can see, I've just got a bottle of water here. So if we put it on, you're going to be relatively in the same ballpark, 18.85, 18.9, 18.83. So all within 1/10 of an ounce of each other in what we have here. So that's one thing we can do. And like I say, you can kind of measure your food to get more accuracy, but sometimes you might be adding something into them as well. So let's say that we have that we added maybe a little bit more to it, or we added something else to a dish. So you put on this, and then you add on something to it. So now the total weight is, well, 19.7. But say you just wanted to know how much this item weighed, this item here, which is my digital thermometer, we're just using as reference. But you wanted to combine it with the other item that you had, but you just wanted to know what this individual item was. So you've already put it like in the dish, like maybe it was a sauce or something. So what you do is you just press and hold, and it resets it to 0, and then you put it on, and it tells you the weight of the item. So that's kind of one cool thing you can do if you're adding things to a dish, and it works pretty similar to everything here. So you do the same thing over here. You just press and hold, totals it back to 0, and it gives you how much the item matches, or how much the item weighs. And then for this one, very similar. Put in that item, press and hold, actually, but I've turned it back on. Okay, it's reset to 0, and that's how you get it. So there's a lot of things you can do there to kind of figure it out. How much, if you're adding stuff to a dish or something, you can use your scales. So that's kind of one little trick that I like to use with my scales. And then sometimes for instance, let's say we zero this out. I'm going to zero all these out here. So they're all back at 0. They're all back at 0. So let's say I'm just going to dump out some of the water here. So it's like, oh, well, how much did I have, or how much did I eat or drink? Well, now you put it back on the scale. It was negative. Now it says 355. So you've drank, or what's missing, I should say, is 3.55 ounces. It's going to be probably pretty close across the board. Yep, 3.55 and 3.56. So within 1/100th of an ounce, they're all kind of coming in. So that's kind of a cool trick too, to zero it out, and then you can kind of take off what you want and see what it is. But those are a couple of tricks like you have with a lot of food scales. They're pretty universal on most models, but you can maximize the use of how you use your food scales. Yeah, so these are just some of the ways that you can use the food scales, and it'll kind of give you just more accurate measurements. If it's something that stresses you out, I don't recommend measuring your food. I just like to do it because it kind of keeps me on plan and keeps me focused for what my goals are every day. Some people get triggered by them, and it becomes kind of a stressor event. You just kind of have to gauge and see where you come out with it. So just thought I'd throw out those few tips for you. There's a variety of food scales. You can see these are all kind of a little different, but they all kind of operate the same. yeah, it's a good tool to use if you want to use it, just to be as accurate as you can.